think you see the chiropractic profession and the industry going in the next 10 years?
Oh my, things have changed so much in the last year, and they were already starting to change, but wellness is so much more important to people. I feel like we have been trying so hard to get that message across to people for so long. And now that they're staring at COVID right in their face, they're realizing, okay, we need to get serious about our health. So I think we have a fantastic opportunity to really reach more and more people and teach them our message. Um, I don't know where the profession as a whole is going, but I can tell you that I know a lot of my colleagues were really realizing that we need to practice differently.
Hmm.
So, and especially with me being a woman and speaking with so many more women, you know, chiropractic, it was kind of a guy's club.
Yeah.
It was, and even when I started school, I didn't really realize how much of a guys club it is until I realized that I was in the first class in Palmer history that had more females than men. So, and I'm really proud of that
That's
graduating
really
class.
awesome. Yeah.
But, like even when I started, chiropractic for the longest time has had a very specific way of practicing. It's like, oh, you have to practice 6 days a week and you're there, from 8 to 12, and then you're there from 3 to 7, and all these crazy hours that did not fit my lifestyle
Sure.
at all. And I didn't really realize until thankfully I met you guys, and Dr. Parush helped me realize, like, okay, you create your practice around your life, not
Right.
around what everybody else is doing. And oh my gosh, if I wouldn't have found you guys, I would have been completely lost, because I was doing everything the wrong way. I was doing it the way that I thought I was supposed to be doing it instead of doing it the way that was right for me. So where I feel like our profession is going is that we're all getting very clear on what kind of lifestyles we want to live. And we may want to do other things within our profession. It doesn't necessarily have to be that you're in the office adjusting all the time. Because one thing that I've really realized through COVID is, like, if we can't be in our offices adjusting, how are we going to make money?
Right.
So, we have to really kind of expand our horizons, whether that's getting into, virtual medicine, or more supplement sales, or teaching, or, it doesn't have to be black and white. Just because you go to chiropractic school does not mean that you have to be in an office adjusting patients. So I
And you
feel like
you bring
we're
up
going
a
to
really good
expand.
point. Yeah,
Yeah.
that it really has changed the landscape, and it's
Mhm.
changed really some of our practices, and you've
Yeah.
changed your practice just a little bit, through COVID.
Yep.
You lost a staff member through
Mhm.
COVID,
Yep.
and that made you take a step back and say, okay, how does my practice look now, and what can I do with that, right? So
Exactly.
tell us a little bit about what realizations you came to while you were going through that, because a lot of docs out there are probably experiencing the same thing. If you had to lay off anybody, if you had to furlough anybody, did they come back to you? Did they
Right.
continue to be an employee of yours, or unfortunately did they have to move forward?
Right.
So
Yeah.
talk to us a little bit about how that changed your practice landscape in general.
I feel like my journey actually started pre-COVID. So I started last, so January of 2019.
Mhm.
I signed the contract with my partner, to start buying him out. And at that point, I was getting really burnt out on pain. We did a lot of pain stuff, as a lot of chiropractors do, because
Sure.
that's how you get people in the door. Do you have
Right.
back pain? And that is not how I wanted to practice. So we took some major steps last year in actually getting rid of insurance. Um, so that was a huge factor in what I feel like has prepared me for COVID in a weird way.
Yeah.
So we took some really hard hits last year, and I've been learning as we go how our landscape has changed within our office. I used to have a massage therapist, 3 assistants, my partner, and an intern slash now associate doctor. So that was just January 2019. And now fast forward to July of 2020, I now have myself, 1 assistant, my associate doctor, who's kind of like an IC, it's a long story, but she's a commission-based doctor. And then my business partner, who is not really practicing at the moment. So
So that's
huge,
a huge transition.
huge transition. So yeah, every day has been different, and I've just had to be on my feet and make some crazy decisions that are out of the box, and it's been scary.
Yeah.
Gosh, you guys talk me through all of this, because sometimes I feel like it's changing every day. But what I'm realizing is that, with that huge, massive staff came so much more work.
Yeah.
I just ran the numbers, and in these last 2 months, we've seen more patient visits in the last 2 months with a small crew than I did back then. And
I will say one thing, just we had the same thing happen within our practice. And as we got to the point where we didn't have as much to manage, and
yes,
sometimes, when you have too many staff,
yeah,
and I will say that there are practices out there that
yeah,
probably get to the point where they probably have too many.
mhm.
Um, that it's so much to manage, it's so
It
much
is,
to keep up with, that you don't get to focus on what you're really there for
right,
you
exactly.
know? And
Yeah.
so talk to us a little bit about how that's refocused you into really paying attention to your patients, your practice, all of those things.
Yeah, we have simplified everything so much. I mean, I'm really, really, really just focusing on the basics now. It's adjusting, and we do a lot of therapies, but my
Sure.
main message is adjusting and getting them in more frequently for care, because before I felt like we pushed so much of the other stuff that people couldn't quite afford to come in as frequently.
Hmm.
So I've lowered a lot of our prices and increased and pushed more adjustments, because I'm explaining to patients the importance of continued care
Sure.
in increasing their immune system. So that's been a huge difference for us. Like, if you looked at our schedule, even 6 months ago, it was colors all over the place. It was decompression, it was laser, it was everything. And now if you look at my schedule, it's adjustments all the way down, and maybe a couple things,
Sure.
sprinkled in here and there, which again, I don't have staff, so I haven't been pushing a lot of the therapies, but my patients are happier, things are simpler. Um, our collections are the same,
Yeah.
and I'm very excited about how well my practice is doing through COVID, because my patients have been coming in regularly and they're staying healthy, and I have more time to talk to them
Sure.
about everything else that we need to be doing for them, instead of trying to get them off under this therapy and do this. And it's just more time, and I'm just really focusing on them and loving on my patients as much as I possibly can, because that's what's important right now.